Hi, today's movie is Phantom of the Paradise, the 1974 musical, horror, rock satire, directed and written by Brian de Palma with music and lyrics by Paul Williams. The film stars Paul Williams, William Finley, Jessica Harper and Garrett Graham. After legendary music producer Swan steals the work of up-and-coming composer Winslow Leach and ruins his life, Leach takes up residence in Swan's new music palace, the Paradise, with plans of revenge against the man who stole his career and the woman he loves. It took me a while to get into this film. The tone of it is just so unique, so different from anything else. But once I did, I was absolutely blown away by Phantom of the Paradise. Brian de Palma has crafted an amazing film, bringing together influences like Phantom of the Opera, Faust, and also bringing in a lot of fantastic horror movie references such as Dr. Caligari, Psycho, and more. On paper, it seems like the kind of thing that shouldn't work, a horror movie musical that's also a satire about the music industry. Yet, Brian de Palma pulls it off magnificently. What's so striking about watching this film now is how unlike anything else it is. It really has its own style and its own tone, and particularly its own striking visual style. What I kept thinking when I was watching this was how like a graphic novel it looked. It's got a really comic book flavour to it, which I think is quite at odds with movies of that period, and it makes it seem very ahead of its time. It does take place in a heightened kind of reality. It does have a sort of campy feel to it, and yet in the film's own world this works. Of course, the other great asset of this film is the music and lyrics of Paul Williams, which really create a credible rock and roll world that this story takes place in. Paul Williams also gives a great performance as the oily and ice-cold Swan, manipulating everything and everyone around him. Jessica Harper is fantastic in what I believe was her first film role. I had no idea she was such a gifted singer, and she really brings credibility to her role as the singer trying to find a break and willing to pay any price to get it. William Finley is also superb as the composer Leach and makes an amazing transformation from a kind of dorky singer-songwriter to a very scary presence later in the film. And his costume is one of the other most iconic things about this film, and again it brings that comic book flavour. But one of the biggest surprises for me in the cast of this film was Garrett Graham as Beef, the glam rock styled singer who's brought in to take over from Jessica Harper's character. Garrett Graham is magnificent and totally convincing as this glam rock god. His performance is so wild, so over the top, and absolutely delicious. I was shocked to learn that he also played Mr. Pankow in another of my favourite shows, Parker Lewis Can't Lose. But his performance here is absolutely memorable, and he steals every scene that he's in. As a satire of the music business, it is absolutely scathing, and even gets into such topics as sexual exploitation and the theft of music rights and exploitation of musicians. Another of this film's most amazing features is the editing, and this is particularly noticeable in the concert scenes, and the editing really creates this feeling of a frantic energy building up in the auditorium. It is absolutely stunning. The concert scenes here are phenomenal, and they really capture the feeling of a crowd getting out of control. The musical sequences are so beautifully staged. The styling is outrageous, over the top, but totally believable in the context of the film. I really love that Brian de Palma took a story like The Phantom of the Opera, which is familiar to horror film fans and music fans, and turns it into this glam rock extravaganza. I'm still amazed that he could do this and make it so funny and also chilling. Phantom of the Paradise does seem ahead of its time, and it does seem to anticipate a film like the Rocky Horror Picture Show in style and tone. As a fan of Velvet Goldmine, I also think there's a lot of influence from Phantom of the Paradise in Velvet Goldmine now that I've seen it. I think what I love most about this film was its audacity. It dares to do something so unique and totally different in its style and its music and its tone. It brings together all these amazing influences from horror films of the past and turns them into something totally unique. I think that's an amazing achievement. If you're a fan of rock, and particularly of glam rock, I think there's also a lot to enjoy in this film. And to me, the musical elements of it often had the feeling of a sort of Jim Steinman Meatloaf epic. I would rate Phantom of the Paradise as a daringly different and really enjoyable film that builds to a genuinely thrilling climax. Thank you so much for watching today, and I hope I'll see you next time. Bye.